I wish the story with G didn't need a part two. I would have loved to wrap up part one by telling you I learned my lesson, closed the chapter, moved on. But no, the thing with G was more like a Netflix series. You're convinced you've watched the final episode, you even saw the credits roll, and then surprise, there's a post-credit scene, and another, and yet another. With G, I learned that some breakups aren't clean. They stretch out, repeat, contradict themselves. I call them spiral breakups. You leave, you come back, you leave again. You think it's over, but here you are, back in the loop. We loved, we ignored, we tested, we hated, we hurt each other. Until one day, something broke. For good. In this episode, I'll share the events that inevitably led us to the end. Because let's be honest, we can keep telling ourselves we deserve better, that we've learned our lesson, that we won't fall for it again. But as long as the heart's still hooked, the brain is often on airplane mode. And G, he knew exactly how to reconnect the signal. A message at the right time, a soft voice, perfectly chosen words. There's always a moment when the mask finally falls off. But depending on the situation, that can take time, a lot of time, too much time. Episode 23, G Act 2. After our confrontation about the video, G and I kept seeing each other. But let's be real, nothing had truly changed. At first, he made an effort. No more last-minute plans, no more blurry excuses. He was a little more present, a little more attentive. But you know what they say, a leopard doesn't change its spots. That new honeymoon phase didn't last long. Soon enough, the doubts, the conflicts, the unspoken words came rushing back. And me? I was getting increasingly skeptical because of my dreams. Oh, my dreams. Remember when I told you in season 1 to trust your intuition? That's because I know from experience, your gut will try everything to warn you. In my case with G, what I personally call God's warnings kept knocking at my mind, trying to wake me up to the reality of the situation. Because unfortunately for me, there were 2 acts before the final separation. Act 1 takes place a few months after the video incident. I felt it, like really felt it. Deep down, I knew something was off. For context, G had a son at the time and claimed he was living with his sister in the Paris suburbs. One night, I had a dream. In it, G was walking towards me. 3 women on his left arm and 2 on his right, full-on Casanova, total show-off. When I woke up, I thought, enough is enough. I had managed to find his address. That day, we were supposed to see each other. I told myself, if he cancels with another lame excuse, I'm going there. Me, the girl who hates drama, I was so fed up I was ready to pull up. Of course, as expected, he bailed with a half-baked excuse. So, I grabbed my stuff and took the trip from Nanterre, where I lived, all the way to his place near Orly Airport. Internally, I thought, if I find his name and the mother of his son's name on the mailbox, I'll have my answer. It means he's lying. He's not single. Don't even ask how I found the mother's last name. Let's just say I was in full detective mode. My gut plus Google is FBI. When I got to his building, I found exactly what I came for. An answer, a confirmation. The whole time I was texting him, I'm coming over. But being my usual polite, calm self, he didn't believe me. until I described the street corner just behind his place. That's when it hit him. I was serious. I was there. As I got closer to check the names on the mailbox, he showed up. I confronted him again. He poured out his excuses, said he loved me, begged for forgiveness, claimed he'd never felt this way about anyone. That yes, he was living with her, but they were separated and he stayed only for the kid. He begged me not to break things off, asked me to go home, promised he'd come over the next day and explain everything calmly. And me who hates drama, I didn't make a scene. I was hurt. I didn't believe him, but he sounded so sincere. My senses were completely out of place. I couldn't tell truth from lies anymore. Could it really be that they were just roommates? I headed back home, shaken to my core. My suspicions were only partly confirmed because G, in all his manipulative finesse, had managed to leave the door cracked open for a tiny what if in my heart. The next day, surprise, he showed up. No excuses. Calm, collected, coherent. We talked like we never had before. He told me his side of the story, said he was single, that he didn't tell me the truth at first because he was scared I'd leave, that he didn't expect to get so attached, that he panicked. I stayed cautious, but G had that thing, that charm, and I had this heart. I ended up giving him another chance, again. When I think back to that moment, I honestly don't understand why I took him back. It's crazy how hard it was for me to accept that people don't all feel like I do. I would never hurt someone on purpose, use them, waste their time. I'd never play with someone's feelings. So, in my head, it was simple. I was sincere. How could he not be? And yet there were warnings, so many warnings. Circumstantial evidence piling up. Everything in his behavior screamed lies. But I kept hoping. Because he talked about living together, about having kids, my logic never wavered. I was sincere, so how could he not be? Which brings me to this episode's lesson. Lesson number 24. When your eyes and heart settle for reality, your spirit still knows the truth,